Davis cranks one out to deep center field. Ciani back in this one. Home run number 1 for Henry Davis. He sent one out to left center, and the Pirates now trailing 4-2. Helsley sets in the pitch. Swinging a ground ball right to short. Wynn collects it on the first. Ball game over. Cardinals even the series. 4-2 the final.
All right, everybody, good morning. We were talking about horror movies last night. It was scary. Anytime a Pirate got up with a runner in scoring position, they go 1 for 9. It was scary when Brian Reynolds comically dove for that baseball. I mean, real quick, before we get into the nuts of this thing, if Bailey Falter's out there throwing a perfect game and Brian Reynolds wants to dive 5 feet short,
okay,
you got to give it your all. Like the St. Louis center fielder who ran as he crushed himself into the center field fence because you're trying to make history there. Like, that makes sense. I don't know what in the world Brian Reynolds was thinking. And so last night's game, look, now the Pirates are a game back in the wild card, and they're back in last place again. And we could do this every day. Now they're in second. Now they're in last. Now they're in second. Now they're in fourth. Now they're in third. Look, the Pirates are good enough to be in this wild card race. Games like last night, you are going to lose. You play 162 of these things. We don't have to break it down chapter and verse. It's a little bit frustrating, though, and we don't want to overreact, but it's a little bit frustrating that you lose by 2 runs, and you had that dive that leads immediately to a run, and then first inning, second and third, nobody out. You can't get a guy home. 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. It feels like one of those games where hopefully you're not looking back at the end of the year going, oh, we missed the playoffs by a game, and this would be one of the ones you can point to.
I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. I had a feeling that they were going to come back down to earth, as I say all the time, after that first game, and it was almost exhausting, the first game. Like, I mean, with Skeens and then the ovation and then, the ninth inning and Hannah Mears, who is awesome, by the way. She's on the broadcast and saying, David Bednar, he's about to welcome his first baby, and he has the graphic of him and his wife holding the little baby thing, and then they go right back to the mound, and he just throws it in home run. There was a lot of stuff that went on that game.
Like the anti-Rob McCoy act.
Right, like, I was like, okay, like, that was exhausting. So I kind of expected a game like this from the Pirates, but there was a moment where, like, I think bases were loaded and Bailey Falter got out of it.
Yes, he did.
And I was like, okay, like, you got out of that. You didn't score the runs that you probably should have in the first, the top of the first. Maybe this could be their rallying point, but they just didn't have the energy. Mm-hmm. They just didn't have it yesterday. And I'm okay. Personally, I don't think that we're going to look back at a game like last night and say that's why they didn't make the playoffs. It's going to be the series against, like, San Francisco, those games where it's like you do something or something does happen where it's like you're 1 run away. Like, why did the ball roll that way?
Yeah, you blow 2 games right there. There was the Tigers game, which started their downfall for a period of time, where you had Rowdy Tellez come defend David Bednar. You're right. Those are more the games you look at and you go, dang, you had it and you lost it. The Pirates never led yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I can come around to your way of thinking. It was frustrating, but it wasn't one of those throw your remote at the TV games. Right. And you also have to understand, and this is what I've tried to do, the mental gymnastics in my head, because you can't live and die with 162. You are going to drive yourself crazy. Go out there today. Mitch Keller's on the mound against Lance Lynn, who's been a St. Louis Cardinal for 862 years. Go out there, beat him, take 2 out of 3, and I don't think anybody cries over yesterday's loss. Henry Davis hits a home run. Thank God, because I think he had struck out 38 of his prior 82 at-bats.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
And even the one that looked like it might be a home run until it hooked foul, he is in love with that foul pole.
Yep.
He tries to pull off of everything. But Neil Walker, our friend, he said on the broadcast he had a good feeling about Henry Davis. He even popped one up the center. Well, kind of landed on the pitcher's mound, but at least it wasn't to the left side. And then he hits one left center. That's a good sign for Henry Davis. O'Neal Cruz goes 2 for 4. Maybe those guys can start coming around. But we can only spend so much time dissecting one of 162, especially like to your point, it wasn't a dramatic loss. It was just a loss.
Yep.
But you brought up before the show this unique opportunity that the Pirates have, and I have not thought about it from this standpoint. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 7 years, and they are right now for lack of a better way of putting it, the favorite to be the last place team in the AFC North. The Penguins, we are watching the Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
They are nowhere near contention. Nowhere near.
They've been done for a long time.
They've been done for a long time. They ain't Florida. Holy snakes. They ain't the Oilers. They ain't the Rangers. Name a playoff team. The Penguins, it feels like, are leaps and bounds away from that. So you were saying, and this is something, I have not thought about. We've been saying, get a bat, get a bullpen arm, take advantage of the opportunity. It's not just take advantage of a bad division. It's not just take advantage of Skeens and Jones and Keller and what they could do in the postseason. It's take advantage of you have the Pittsburgh sports spotlight, and when recently have you been able to say that?
This was actually Bostic's idea after the show. We were talking to Craig, and I looked at him. I was like, "That is a great point." Like we've danced around this, and we've talked about little elements of this throughout the last year. But he put it like, look, like it's one thing to look in directly, indirectly, within your organization and say we need to fix this because our window could be now. And alongside of that, I don't know how Cherington could sit there and look himself in the mirror and say that if we just add a bat or if we add an arm, that it wouldn't benefit us. So there's that one thing right there. There's that one area where you look inside and you say, we need to fix this. If we do this, we'll be good. Then you look a little bit outside, which is the division in Major League Baseball. We're going to be in the thick of things. So we really need to make some moves here and make our team the best it possibly can be while we have Skeens, while we can find our way throughout the season, because we could be right there at the end of the day. But it's another thing, and I think a bigger 30,000-foot view picture of taking the top spot in the city, which you haven't had in how many years? How many years? I mean, before us.
It hasn't been really since, 2013, you had that element of it.
You had an element.
But the Penguins were supposed to be very good.
Yes.
And they were coming off of a conference championship run against Boston, I want to say. It might have been the other way around. Regardless, you had those guys in their prime, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, in their prime, Fleury. You had the Steelers, Ben, still in his prime, Killer Bees. You, Boston, you guys are right about this.
You have a serious opportunity of taking that spot of being that team that everybody wants to see in the city, and you just haven't had that in a long time. You have to take advantage of that. Let alone you're taking advantage of what's inside the Pirates organization and baseball moves and the division and Major League Baseball, your own respective sport. You have a chance to be the top dog. You have the top dog on your team.
You do.
You have the top dog really in the city right now. Obviously, Sidney Crosby's still around, but right now, the hottest name in Major League Baseball is on your team. You talk about revenue. You talk about selling tickets. You talk about engagement. You talk about viewership. You talk about winning. You right now, you would do yourself a serious disservice not adding to this team to give yourself the best opportunity to get into the playoffs, and then who knows what can happen after that.
Yeah.
Don't know what the Steelers are going to be, man. I don't know what the Penguins are going to be. They haven't showed us both anything in a long time. Pirates can really take advantage of this situation, and I think that should be the focus alongside of what's going on inside of that building.
Yeah, not just, hey, here's how we're viewed and how we view ourselves within Major League Baseball, but can we capitalize now when these other teams are down? We've got the guy. Look, Pat McAfee obviously knows what he's doing. He gets $17 million a year or whatever from ESPN. He had the deal before. He's got Skeens on the show.
Yeah.
Because he knows, and Skeens doesn't always say a lot. He's warming to it, but he doesn't always say a lot. He's putting him on because he knows people are interested. Adam Shine, who does a national show, was talking about Paul Skeens the other day. Jeff Passon's on national podcast being asked about Paul Skeens. You've got the guy, to your point. Dorin, it's very early, and I don't mean any disrespect to two guys in particular, really, TJ Watt and Sidney Patrick Crosby. I think Paul Skeens, you can make an argument, is as good at what he does as those two guys are at what they do right now.
Right now.
You don't have the body of work. You know, TJ Watt probably should have won the Defensive Player of the Year award last year, but on most people's short list, he's a top 3 or 4 at worst defender in the league. Sidney Crosby's a top 10 player. He's not top 5 anymore. He's an all-around brilliant player, fine, but he's not among the elite of the elite right now in terms of the scoring, in terms of what makes you eminently watchable as a casual sports fan. Paul Skeens, he doesn't qualify yet because he hasn't pitched enough, would be 4th in the National League in ERA.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a pitcher in Major League Baseball that if you said we're starting from scratch and we're doing a draft, there is not a pitcher in Major League Baseball that goes before that guy.
Nope.
Not one.
Nope.
But if you did it in the NHL, people would pick players before Sid, and people in the NFL might take Myles Garrett before they take, that sounded like Pony. They might take Myles Garrett before they take TJ Watt.
Yes.
They might take
Micah Parsons.
In fact, I'm guessing a lot of people would take Micah Parsons first. Skeens is the guy.
Not debatable.
No. And maybe even if you said position players included, you know, it might be Ohtani, it might be Judge as your first 2 picks, and then it's probably Paul Skeens.
Yes.
Surround him with the requisite talent to win, and it's making an investment for the franchise in terms of winning, but also this could be when you get the next group of diehard fans. Like, how many times have we talked to Craig? We need to make sure we get the young listeners, and we are. Thank you, everyone. Because that's how you build your ratings. Oh, now you listen as a kid, and now you listen as a young adult, and now your kid's going to listen. And can you get people excited about the Pittsburgh Pirates now when they have the market's eyes? It's an investment for the future for them.
They have every single thing going for them right now, and people don't think that's crazy. But, I mean, even like I just talked about, Paul Skeens, 1-1 pick. I mean, being one of the better players in Major League Baseball, but venue-wise, too. Like, you have one of the best parks in Major League Baseball. You have probably one of the best venues in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have everything going for you right now. You invested a lot into PNC Park. You've upgraded. You continue to make that a one-stop shop event place for people. Now you can just put a couple things on the field, and you could have a winning team. You have everything going for you to be that top dog.
Well,
and that should be the focus as well.
It should be, because we all know the score. Anytime we talk about anything Pirates related, it comes back to the owner. Well, this is an opportunity here to make an investment where you can make more money.
Yes.